degrees. I'm First Lord Peter Field on your WYSL stations.
Merry Christmas and happy 2024 from Vic.
Jingle next.
Ram 6484 Route 9.
Oh, and that song you requested is in there for the show.
Lisa 2023 Jeep Running.
That a song you requested last week's in there.
A month for 39 months, $2,500 down. Must be Conquest or returning lessee.
I think it was John Cicada.
Laredo 4x4 SUV is only $359 a month for 39 months. $2,500 down. Must be returning lessee.
You're welcome.
Ford Jeep Wrangler 4-door Willis 4xe convertible is just $309 a month for 36 months. $2,500 down. Must be returning lessee. And a Chrysler Pacifica minivan is just $399 a month for 39 months. $2,500 down. Must be returning lessee. All these deals require first payment. DMV taxes and fees due at signing. 10,000 miles per year. The conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. It's Victor Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Route 96, just east of Victor.
WYSL.
The WYSL stations bring you Jose Pio and Lavelle Lewis in your weekly dose of PCP. It's your hour of common sense with the politically correcting podcast and show.
You get the power to make power go. And ladies and gentlemen, not only do we have Jose Pio here solo today, he was just recently injured by the studio desk. And so I told him to do 10 laps and shake it off. We'll see how he's doing.
I've got the evidence for my lawsuit right on camera here, so everyone got to see it. Yes, Lavelle is sick at home. Wish she gets well. I talk today, starting with a very controversial topic. So do not change the channel until you have at least heard me out, okay? I'm not trying to be all high and mighty and put myself on some kind of pedestal, but I certainly am looking to be the type of leader that I would look up to personally. The saying, be the change you wish to see in the world, definitely means something to me. That is why I speak with confidence and knowing that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's Philippians 4:13. What does it say? How many things? Some things? No. Most things? No. It specifically says all things, and you really don't even have to believe in God to believe that statement. If you're an unbeliever, then go ahead and substitute God for whatever it is you do believe in, and it still works. For those who believe in, the secret, mental strength and focus means the universe will attract your... social media you see, they're trying to make you a better person. That's just getting you hyped for the moment. But what do you stand for as a person? And being that confident version of yourself knows what you stand for. I'm living proof, because 3 years ago, January 1st, 2021, I led a 100-person protest, over 100 people protest, in combination with anti-vaxxers, conservatives, Democrats, children, and even BLM group. We led a protest against coerced vaccination. When else have you seen that kind of solidarity in the past 5 years? Not only that, I just came back from vacation. I certainly did not social distance for 10 days. Why? Because I wasn't sick. You don't isolate a perfectly healthy individual, and I knew that because I had what is still somehow referred to as common sense. See, I bucked the system and put everything on the line for it. I quit my banker job because they tested everyone week. They actually... working with the FBI to give them information about who was in or around Washington, D.C. on January 6th and who used their debit card up to. I gave up a damn job because I couldn't my buck, the health care system, as you've seen during my time on city council, what is it, now 4 days left. I fucked the financial system all because I knew I could not live in them. Mom said that, and she said it fairly often. I'm really proud of that. For a fact, she would be honest. Who else in my position as a salesman with a baker family helps my position? Every single news channel was every single one was posting about how I'm the new anti. Every single article and every single one I said I'm against coerced vaccination. Every single one I said I'm a military with vaccines into my body. That sounds pretty so how could I be an anti-vaxxer? But the media went up against me. So many others who I simply just didn't even ever, because they obviously didn't care to learn about mine. Or are they someone I wish to even look up to and emulate? Who else is unemployable because they have a loud, confident voice that stands for something that's contrary to public opinion? And I'm just little. Purse and go make her proud to sleep in the same bed as you every night. Because posting on social media, for many of you out there under some fake profile, is not the same as putting it all on the line for what is right. I watched a documentary yesterday showcasing a lot of the footage that wasn't shown about January 6th. This is all what it comes up to here, is the fact that I saw some atrocities that were done by our government, by our police state, by the politicians that were in charge, by the media who was supposed to be providing us with correct information. I finally was able to see the things that they were hiding from us. And someone will say, well, where you got that information from was probably, skewed, was probably leaning very far right. Okay, fine. But I've had the opportunity to see everything that the left showed me. We've seen everything that the mainstream media showed us. Why wouldn't we see the other side? And here's the thing. This is the big issue I have about, I don't want to say issue I have with conservatives or Republicans. This is my issue I have with anyone on the right who refuses to even step outside of their vacuum to speak with Democrats or to speak with the far left or to speak with BLM. The issue here is you can connect with them. I have been able to connect with them. I had one of them vote no on legislation that gave money to Planned Parenthood because they were funding abortions here in Rochester. I got that person to vote no, a very far left person to vote no, based purely on the fact that I spoke with it, they, them, and said, this isn't right. I was like, look, I don't care where you stand on abortions. That's not the topic here. The topic is, should the citizen of Rochester, the taxpayer, fund that company for their abortions? Should we, the taxpayer, have no say in where our money goes to? So if I, being a very, devout Christian, let's say, if I were to sit there and say my tax money is being used to put towards Planned Parenthood, I don't like that. I don't want my money going towards that. And that's what I stood for. I said there are many people in our city who are devout Christians, who are very much Roman Catholics, the old school Roman Catholics, not the new school one, old school Roman Catholics, who would sit there and say, look, you want to have an abortion? That's between you and God. I don't want my money paying for it. And I think we're missing a huge opportunity in this world. And that's why I started the podcast. That's why I am very honored that Bob here would allow us to be on the Whistle, WYSL, to be able to talk and be able to have these types of conversations so that we can somehow, some way bring information that most people normally wouldn't talk about with the other side, normally wouldn't have these types of conversations, so that we could be able to bridge that gap and be able to reach to the other side. Like the good old days when politicians were running for some type of office, they would say, I'm willing to reach across the aisle and work with the other side. I'm willing to, put our things aside and be able to push for a greater America. What happened to that? The problem is the aisle has become a wall. And there's so many who are not willing to even talk with the other side. And so, a lot of times when I'm here speaking with Lavelle, many may feel I'm attacking the right. I'm certainly not attacking the right by any means. I'm speaking to you so that hopefully you stand up for what is right and you are able to go to the far left and say, look, you agree that shooting flash grenades into the crowd of protesters who were mostly peaceful, who were mostly, not doing anything wrong, were just simply trying to air their grievances. You say that is not the right way to handle it. You said throwing flash grenades, throwing gas grenades into the crowd was wrong. I agree with you. Please agree with me then that what they did on January 6th, what the police did on January 6th, with the Capitol Police, with the FBI, with the CIA, with the inside guys that were there, what they did was wrong too. When they were throwing their gas grenades, their flashbangs into the crowd. This is the type of conversation that needs to be had. And this is the whole premise for this show, to be able to showcase the types of conversations that you can have, whatever side you're on. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about January 6th and First Amendment rights and how maybe is U of R infringing on those rights with the pro-Palestinian protests. WYSL 346-3000 is the phone number to call if you want to talk with us here at the Politically Correcting Radio Show.
The dream was leaving. She tried so hard to keep.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law, that in 2020 there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens? 6 New York voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Youth for Christ Rochester needs to grow. Our kids are telling us they don't feel safe in their neighborhoods or rec centers, and they're asking us to be open more. And thanks to your support, we will. We're adding a weeknight and Saturday morning to our basketball program. We're adding a second Arts Academy Friday night, and we're adding a second P31 girls class on Saturdays. But we need your help. $25 per month funds a kid for a year. Give your best gift to yfcrochester.org/donate.
The Stars and Stripes flag store is open again. Shop at 783 South Avenue Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 5. All American-made flags, many different types, apparel, drinkware, ornaments, and more. Our Stars and Stripes flag store open again.
Advertising on the WYSL stations is both affordable and effective, but it's so much more than that. When your business or professional practice has a presence on the Voice of Liberty, you connect with a patriotic, awake, and aware audience that cares about society, our families, our schools, values, and our future. And our listeners appreciate you.
Last spot, and we have Keith.
Can end the madness together. For
I trust you can hear me better.
WYSL stations, the Voice of Liberty. Call 346-3000 to advertise today.
Politically Correcting.
I'm gonna let this play out a little bit, just so Facebook could get mad and try and block it. We do have Keith on the line. Keith, I'm sorry your black Republican bigot is here for this conversation. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, I didn't know that you, Mr. Pio, that still quote the beginning. So you will have to say for yourself, you're being shunned by your fellow Dems, that Jose P. does not hesitate to show his faith, which is very good. I'm giving you true compliment. I'm just hoping that you are being fully embraced by other Dems who, to say it in this day and age, might be wary of you. So that's very good that you're speaking out. The other point I wanted to make, mass movements for good change usually are prompted, alas, by only a small group of people. Our Revolutionary War was only backed by 1/3 of the colonists really fighting for our country. Another third were neutral, and the last third were Tories fighting for the British. So to say in closing, when you say U of R or any college trying to shut down on freedom of speech, we have to get people everywhere united, even if it's only going to be realistically small numbers of us, to come out and do the heavy lift, and then maybe, hopefully, the majority will follow us. But you have to realize, you a younger person than me, that it's only small groups of people who, at least in the beginning, make that big, heavy lift for hopefully that big, effective change. That really is the truth and reality of it.
I really appreciate that, Keith. Thank you so much for calling in and for the kind words. I can tell you right now, my faith is not embraced by the new religion Democrats. You know, I say the new religion Democrats because, you know, there's a lot of Democrats in the city who are faithful churchgoers. They've been blinded by the political party that has been pandering to them for a number of years. They have brought race into the equation when in religion, in the Bible, there really wasn't anything race related in there, meaning skin color. There wasn't a skin color issue. And on top of that, if you're a true believer, then skin color has no place in the conversation, because you see someone by their actions. You see someone by their love for God, and it's evident in what they do, not just what they say, but in what they do. And I think that the new religious Democrats, they've kind of embraced the wrong things. And I can say that as a Latino Democrat, but that doesn't mean that they're going to embrace me. You would think, being a Latino Democrat, they should be uplifting someone who's, you know, prior military veteran, well, still obviously military veteran, who's a business owner, who's Latino, who's, you know, very proud of his heritage and where he's from and his family's heritage, and, you know, our what we brought to the city of Rochester, what I've brought to the city of Rochester as well. You would think that they would uplift that, but if you step out of line, they are completely against you and you're completely ostracized. Every time I go to a Democrat event, I love it because I love seeing people's faces like, oh God, here we go. Like, here comes Jose with his conspiracy theories and, you know, his fighting for, you know, amendment rights and the Constitution, yada, yada. Well, yeah. That's what you swore an oath to. Well, I'm sorry, that's what I swore an oath to twice in two different capacities. When I joined the military, I swore an oath to the Constitution. When I was sworn in by the, probably in my opinion, one of the last best mayor that our city has had, Mayor Bill Johnson. I know that there's maybe some angst out there about me even saying that, but the man tried. The man tried something different. I don't know, you know, all of the politics behind the fast ferry, but the man tried something. And I think that's what we're missing in the city is someone to step outside the comfort zone, someone to step outside of the box that we continue to put ourselves in, because that's what we're doing. We're putting ourselves in this box by electing the same people who keep digging us further into the ground of complacency. They keep blaming things that are certainly within their control, but they make it out to be some kind of boogeyman that we need to fight against, that Black people need to fight against, that Latinos need to fight against. Well, now they're saying Latinx or the Legitimaquois need to fight against this, you know, boogeyman that they keep putting in front of you. when they do that, you should automatically say, tell me exactly who that person is. If they, in New York State, if you came out and told me that the fight is against the Republicans, in what world do you live in that Republicans have a greater strength than you and then in New York State? In what world do you live in where Republicans outnumber you in your vote to New York State better? That's obscenely absurd for you to come to me and pee on my leg and call it rain. You know, you can't sit there and blame the other party, which they've been doing for so long. Sit there and say, county and the issues we are in today. No, it's not. You have total control over the county. You have total control over the state. You have complete control over the city. You have, I even hate the term people of color, but let's just call it what it is. People of color who run the entire city of Rochester. And yet they continue to blame racism, white supremacy, a system of oppression, making it out to be something that you can as long as they keep that further than an arm's length away from you, they can keep getting your votes because they're going to sit there and tell you that they're going to fight for you against that boogeyman.
Got a great quote for you. The whole aim of practical politics is to keep the populace alarmed, and hence clamorous to be led to safety by an endless series of hobgoblins, most of them imaginary. H.L. Mencken.
I love it.
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
Wow. Because one of the things that I think was a crisis. Not even a crisis. It's a health crisis.
Hobgoblins.
A racial crisis. Now it's an immigration crisis. Now it's this, that, and the other. Everything is a crisis. And when your body, when your mind always thinks in terms of fight or flight, you're going to have issues where your mental capacities are always going to be on edge. So anything that comes up in front of you that seems good, that seems right, you're going to automatically approach it with this defensive mechanism instead of just going and say, all right, I'm for it. Let's go. What can we do about this? And there's so many times when a legislation was in front of me during this, the past 4 years, when they're like, well, there's a housing crisis. We need to fix this. And I say, okay, what got us here? And they have no answer. Well, it's redlining that got us here. Really? Because we have an entire city that was built for 300,000 people. And we only have 210,000 people right now. So how is there a housing crisis? Wouldn't you say then that we have enough housing? Maybe it needs to be renovated. Maybe it needs to be put into the hands of local developers or small, local flippers who can take that rundown house, fix it up, renovate it, flip it, get it back on the market. And what we're doing instead is taking your tax dollars, taking $40,000 and busting that house down, taking another $400,000 to rebuild a single family home. And then after you've spent $440,000 of taxpayer dollars, you then sell it, preferably, they've stated, to a single mom with children who is in need for $100,000. Okay. And then I asked, okay, so the citizens are paying for that. What is that house going to be assessed at? What's the tax that they're going to pay for that house? Are we going to assess it at the full value, or are we going to assess it at a lower value so that we keep the rates down? So it's not just the $440,000 that was spent. Now we're talking about tax money over a number of years that we're never going to get. Because when you build a brand new house over on Joseph Avenue, when is it ever going to appraise for more than $150,000? Let's be very honest here. When is it ever a single family home going to appraise
striker
in the hood for anything value of where you would see in, say, Pittsford, Brighton? You would never see that. But if you take that house and you put it in Pittsford or Brighton, you have a $500,000 house. It's crazy the way this market is. But we do have Stryker on the phone here. Stryker, what do you got for us, brother?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good, yourself?
Good. Hey, just wanted to kind of make a comment on what Bob, he made that one comment there. Doesn't it seem like when you wake up in the morning, you turn on the news and it's like, what are we supposed to be afraid of today?
Every single day.
Every single day. It's something new. Something. Be afraid of these, be afraid of these people. Be afraid of this, the newest COVID variant or whatever. But yeah, it just really does seem that it's a perpetual state of fear.
That's how you control people. Stryker, thank you so much for calling and giving us that insight there, because that idea where you can keep instilling fear into the people will keep them at bay. And that's exactly what they did on January 6th. And since then, they've kept people at bay, saying, don't you ever talk bad about this government or ever rise up against it, because we will throw you in jail forever. We'll be right back after we pay some bills with our amazing people who are promoting with us that we hear at WYSL.
Under my thumb, the squirmy dog who's just had her day. Under my thumb.
For truth and freedom.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the new NBC forecast on WYSL. For Wednesday night, scattered showers are expected through the overnight period. Cloudy, otherwise below 44. Heading into Thursday morning, a little fog will be possible in the morning hours too, with scattered showers expected to continue through most of the day once again. We're going to be a little cooler too, with a high of 47. Thursday night, scattered showers do continue with a low temperature of 40 degrees. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alex Bielfeld on your WYSL stations.
Best wishes for a Merry Christmas and a joyful and safe winter driving season from Victor Chevrolet. Now, lease a 2024 Chevy Trailblazer LS front-wheel drive. Just $259 a month for 27 months. $2,500 cash or trade required. Get the cold weather safety and capability of a 2024 Chevy Silverado LT Crew Cab. Just $379 a month for 36 months. $2,500 cash or trade at closing. And then there's the 24 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive LT. Just $219 a month for 27 months. $2,500 cash or trade equity at closing. Tier 1 credit approval. Lessee responsible for repairs and maintenance. Must have lease and household for all these lease deals. Whether you drive a Chevy or not, trust your vehicle to our Chevy Certified Service Department. Check out our excellent used selection. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Together, let's drive at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit VictorChevrolet.com.
WYSL.
Frustrated with your current trash collection company? Call C-Rec Disposal. Tired of missed pickups, billing problems, no response to your customer service calls? Call C-Rec Disposal. C-Rec Disposal proudly serves customers in Penfield, Brighton, Webster, Irondequoit, Gates, Greece, and Pittsford. Get prompt and courteous service you can count on from a locally owned disposal service. C-Rec also has commercial dumpster service. This holiday season, give yourself the gift that keeps on taking. Switch to C-Rec Disposal. Call 585-720. 978 SEYREK disposal.com.
In the Rochester and Finger Lakes region, one name stands above all others for real estate appraisal and advice.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
This full-service real estate appraisal company can appraise and advise on purchase and sales decisions, mortgage finance feasibility, estate, matrimonial, partnership buyouts, litigation, and more for any type of property, both residential and commercial. Ryan Murphy was founded almost 40 years ago. All of our highly trained staff members have at least 20 years of experience. All our appraisers are either New York State certified general or residential real estate appraisers.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
Start here. RYNEMurphy.com.
WYSL.
Fall and and winter are the best time to have your fleet truck and vehicle graphics done at Sign Blazer. Stop in at their showroom, Route 15, just north of Lakeville, and get 15% off your sign. Sign Blazer.
Visit SandBlazerSands.com. Please visit SandBlazerSands.com. Check out SandBlazerSands.com.
WYSL. This is Gary Mervis, founder of Camp Good Days. When I began Camp Good Days, I made a promise that no family would have to choose between paying their bills or sending their child to camp. Camp Good Days, providing programs and services to children and families impacted by cancer and sickle cell anemia. Visit campgooddays.org to learn how you can enroll in a monthly giving program, because anyone with cancer deserves good days and special times.
New from Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters, and the perfect gift, it's the Comfort Buddy, a smaller heater for the guest room, laundry room, or that sun porch. And the Comfort Buddy offers the famous Aaron Moore advantages like no exposed hot surfaces, child and pet safety, plus big energy savings. Here's a bonus: upgrade your Comfort Buddy with an optional air purifier you can use all year. Buy direct and get the lowest web price. Use the promo code WYSL and save even more. Call 800-707-8725 or visit air-more.com.
This August 3rd and 4th, marvel at the spectacle of the Italian aerobatic jet team, the Freak J Trico Lori, and more at the 2024 AP Property Services Rochester Air Show. Discounted holiday ticket options online now at rockairshow.com.
All Seasons Wine.
Last spot.
The big liquor superstores in Rochester, when you can save and park right next to the front door at All Seasons. They'll carry your discount case purchases to your car with a smile. Voted best in Livingston County. All Seasons Wine and Spirits, 255 Main Street in Avon.
Politically correcting.
346-3000, the number to call. Once again, here is Jose.
Thank you. Let's discuss the First Amendment rights and if U of R is infringing on those rights when it comes to the pro-Palestinian protests happening on campus. This is something that I do have an issue with many members of Congress who are Republican, who state that they stand for First Amendment rights, but then when it comes to protests that are pro-Palestinian, they seem to want to shut it down immediately. And that's the hypocrisy I really don't stand for. Let's talk about First Amendment, what it says, and whether or not U of R is infringing on them. U of R is a University of Rochester here locally, for those of you who don't know. First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, U of R is certainly a private institution, or so they claim, but then again, are they? We know from the issues when it comes to, our college tuition, that it seems like they're working hand in hand with the government. The government says that we're going to guarantee that you, an 18-year-old, can get a $150,000, $200,000 loan to go to school, but if you want to get a $150,000, $200,000 loan to buy a home, we're not going to let you do that. That's a something from my banking time where I'm really upset about. But U of R is telling everyone that they need to give them a 3 days heads up before they can put together a protest. I do not think that's appropriate. I don't think that you need to give anyone a heads up. Now, if you are looking to shut down a road, which when I had my protest for the coerced vaccines, or against the coerced vaccination of our people, before coerced vaccines was even a thing, mind you, we made sure we alerted the government, city government, and said, we will be protesting and we will be marching down the street to the county building. They said, thank you. We will provide you with police escort to make sure that you're not ran over by people. And we'll make sure that they're able to block the roads for the limited time that it's going to take you and your people to march down the street to the building. We did not block the roads. We didn't stand in the middle of the street. We didn't sit down. We didn't glue our hands to the road. We didn't chop down freaking doors to private businesses and ransack the place. No, we simply marched down the road chanting about our body, our choice, down to the public building, what we pay for. And then we went around the corner to the city building and also spoke there. We had people who had bullhorns and were speaking out in public. Again, we did not block the streets, but we gave them a heads up and they gave us police escort. Yes, that is the appropriate way to do that if you are looking to do that kind of protesting. There's protests out there where they're taking the Highland Bowl stage at Highland Park and they're vandalizing it with graffiti. They did the same thing. The graffiti at Highland Park says Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. That's not appropriate. Remember during BLM protests, the City Hall was taken over for over a week. I think it was 2 weeks. City Hall was taken over by the radicals there, and they took down the American flag, replaced it with the BLM flag, put posters all over City Hall, graffitied all over the place. MLK Park was completely destroyed with graffiti. They even went down to Shalat, down to the beach, completely away from downtown, and graffitied on the, what do you call those things? Gondolas, whatever they might be called. And even went down to pier and graffitied on the white pole at the end of the pier. It was ridiculous how far they would go to just graffiti and to destroy. And a lot of times I feel like these protests are simply to destroy, not to speak up, not to, redress your issues with, redress your grievances with the government. Palestine will be freed from the river to the sea. Fine, you can have your words that you're speaking out, but when you start destroying things, when you start taking over streets, blocking traffic, and blocking people from being able to go to work, I have an issue with that. When it says peaceably to assemble, that doesn't mean burning cop cars. It doesn't mean setting fires and businesses up in flames. That doesn't mean walking on the street, flipping dinner tables over, or yelling in people's faces that Black Lives Matter. That's not what that is. But from everything I saw before on January 6th, now we're seeing all of the things that are coming to light, it seemed as if that was a peaceful assembling of people for a redress of their grievances. It seemed as if the police there did kind of antagonize the group. They really made them feel as if they were under attack. I'm looking at it, I'm watching the videos, and I'm saying to myself, what would you have done there, Jose? What would you have done in that situation? Would you have fled, or would you have stood up against that? I mean, we're talking about police officers that were beating a woman that was unconscious on the ground with a stick. We're talking about another woman. I'm sorry, that person ended up dying. Roseanne was her name. She ended up dying. She was one of the 4 people who actually died on January 6th. None of those 4 people were police officers, mind you. Another woman who stopped one of the people who were there, who were bashing windows down, who was beating the window with their helmet. She actually was yelling at the guy to the point where she punched the guy in his face to stop bashing the window. And she felt when she did that, she was grabbed by a bunch of guys, because there were people there, and I'm not afraid to say this. There were people there who were there to antagonize inside of the January 6th protesters. You can clearly see they were antagonizing, and they were pushing people into the building, and they were telling people, we need to go inside. We need to go inside. And for the longest time, I said, whoever was there and was inside the building was an idiot. They were stupid for doing that. And now I'm seeing all the footage. Now I'm seeing how it seems as though they were set up. It seems as though they were pushed to do exactly that. And yes, there were many people out there who were saying, this person is FBI, this person is undercover, this person is not one of us. But there were far too many in these, I believe they counted like 80 people who they're trying to find still. Not the FBI, they're not trying to find them, but the people who were there who were saying, we were infiltrated by people who were bashing windows down, pulling the glass off of the window and telling us to go, hey, we should go inside, pushing us up through the window. The lady who got shot by the police officer, she felt like she was going to get beaten by these people around her. And she's like, I need to get out of here, and tried to get up through the window with nothing in her hand, and was shot dead. And that police officer has no defense to that, in my opinion. When you shoot somebody who has nothing in their hands, poses no threat to you, you can't sit there and say, well, they were bashing on the window. Well, she was not, though. And if someone died during the BLM protest because they were shot by a police officer, because that police officer felt as if that person was attacking them, and that person didn't have anything in their hand and was literally trying to stop the antagonizers, was literally trying to stop the people trying to push forward and attack the police officers, and that person dies, that police officer should face 12. They should face a jury. There's so many things that I saw last night that really had me up all night, that I felt as if I had to bring up today, that needs to be said. This stuff needs to come to air. It was wrong what happened on January 6th, but it was more wrong what they did to the January 6ers and what they still continue to do. We'll be right back. WYSL 346-3000. Give us a call.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law, that in 2020 there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Batavia Downs Gaming exists for you to have fun coming to visit us. By doing that, you help support our member counties, education, local charities, and each and every one of our 400 employees. We want to say thank you. 2022 was our biggest year ever in credits played, money provided to our member counties, money for education and charities in our area. And we want you to continue to love coming here. Batavia Downs Gaming, we thank you for a great 2022, and our best times are ahead of us.
Batavia Downs, more, lots more.
If you're looking to market and grow your connections and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber.
Last spot.
We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing.
I was leaning back in the seat.
Need to live or work in Greece to join our members.
Yeah.
The region.
And chewing gum.
Better together. And together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
Politically correcting.
I apologize to the Babbitt family. Ashley Babbitt was the name of the decorated U.S. Air Force veteran who was shot and killed by the Capitol Police that day. I feel really bad about not being able to name the name there. Roseanne Boylan was the other one who was beat by the police officer while passed out on the ground. The other two actually, it was 2 men who had heart attacks in the crowd from the flashbangs that went off. And every time they tried doing a autopsy, what they came back was, they had heart issues anyways. So therefore they were going to die anyways.
I have heart issues. Do I deserve to die just for arbitrary political reasons?
Well, if you're black and you die at the hands of police officers and you had heart issues and you were high on drugs, they will find a way to put it on police officers. It was elevated heart due to the fact that police put you in that position, right? Well, how come this is not an elevated heart issue due to the fact that the Capitol Police were throwing flashbangs and smoke grenades into the crowds? Why is it that we're not treating these protesters the same as we treat BLM protesters? That's my issue, and it always will be, is the hypocrisy and not showing same energy. Those are my two biggest things I always say, same energy. And that's what you need to talk about to the far left, or even just to the left in general, is about same energy. Yeah, we're with you. We believe the same thing. I don't think anyone should die from a protest. I don't think anyone should be shot by police officers. But do you also agree that this was wrong? And provide them with the evidence. The problem was we were, myself included, we just never saw the evidence unless we physically went to go look for it. And we had to look for it in a way that we knew where to find it. If you look right now, let's say you Google search, like I just did, the 4 protesters who died January 6th. Everything talks about 2 police officers and what's her name? Ashley Babbitt. You have Roseanne Boylan maybe as a sub conversation, but they say, well, she took what's that drug when you have ADHD? Ritalin?
Ritalin is it? Yeah.
Yeah, she took Ritalin, so her heart was. I think
it's also Adderall.
Adderall, that's what it was. She was high on Adderall. Her heart had an issue, and therefore, yada yada yada. It's completely wrong. I also saw another lady who was speaking in the camera. They showed the video of her getting bashed in the head with a baton over 5 times, got punched in the face, and I'm saying she was by herself in the midst of the police officers. They said that she was grabbing the police officers' equipment and trying to fight against them. And I'm watching the video myself, and I'm saying, what world do you live in where a young lady who's, I want to say she's tiny, but she certainly would not put up a fight against a trained police officer. What world do you live in where you watch that video and you can clearly see her getting beat in the head with a baton, where you see her get physically punched in the face by a police officer, and you take her to court? Another person who was trying to stop the whole nonsense, trying to help Roseanne Boylan, and was up there saying, stop, to the crowd, stop pushing forward, let's pray, stop, let's pray. And then somehow a crutch, some idiot in the crowd threw a crutch up there at the police officers, and he picks it up and he puts it up in the air to tell the police stop, because there's a lady on the ground dying, literally. He turns around and says, stop. And police officers spray him in the face with pepper spray and start hitting him. And he just stands there saying, stop, just trying to stop the nonsense from happening. And that guy's getting charged with the same thing that every January 6th person is getting charged with.
Yeah.
It's just, when you see for yourself, and I'm saying this from someone who the entire past 2-3 years, however long it's been, I don't even know. It was January 6th, 2021, right?
Yes.
If you look at anything I've seen for the past almost 3 years, I've always said Republicans were idiots for going inside the Capitol building. What the hell were they thinking? Why would they even do that? Why were they so aggressive? Why were they thinking that they could overturn the government? And then a little bit of evidence came out and said, okay, well, they obviously weren't trying to overthrow the government. I mean, there were no weapons at all found there by any January 6th protester. So why would they were just dumb for being inside the building. They shouldn't have been pressing up against the police. And then I see that how they were antagonized. And then I see the actions of very many who were there, including, what are their names? The Oath Keepers?
Yes, Oath Keepers.
Who were helping the Capitol Police and getting through the crowd, who the security guards were coming to them saying, we need your help with this. And they were actually telling people to stop and to allow the police officers through to go do their job. Even hugging the police officers as they were coming out of being stuck inside because they were terrified for their lives. And everything we heard about Oath Keepers was that they were armed to the T to destroy America and to overtake the Capitol building. That's all I knew about Oath Keepers. And then I know some guy in Shalat that's been in jail. I'm sorry, I forgot his name too, but I think he was one of the Oath Keepers. And
Dominic somebody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his last name. He's got Z's in it. I'll look it up.
He's been in jail this entire time.
Oh yeah, and so some of these people have abusively been incarcerated.
Solitary
cells that you wouldn't let your dog stay in.
Yeah, and we're talking about that guy who held up the crutch and turned to the police officer and says, "Stop." He's being held. Like, he's been given so many times a different plea deal, and he's saying, "I'm not going to take it because I believe that I did nothing wrong. I know I did nothing wrong." And they have the video evidence for it. And they're still trying to go after him for literally, they want him to go to jail for years.
Dominic Pizzola, he was one of the Proud Boys.
Proud Boys. There we go, Proud Boys. And everything we've been told for the past 3 years of what went down that day. I'm not trying to, harp on this, but being somebody who I didn't believe everything they said, meaning, the people who were there January 6th, they were like, "Oh, I didn't see any of that happen." Okay, well, you were probably too far. You didn't see the freaking nonsense that they were doing, bashing in the windows, this and the other. But then when you see the evidence, and that's me, who's not easily persuaded, especially by mass media, especially by the government. But when we find out that they purposely withheld evidence, that's not the legal system that we believe in, no matter what side. And now I see, and someone's going to clip this and post it all over social media. I already know it, including probably Lavelle. Now I see why people, no matter what happens, are going to vote for Trump. Now I see why that even if Trump is in jail, they're going to vote for Trump. No matter if Trump continues saying that the vaccine is safe and effective and you should get it, no matter what, they're going to vote for Trump. I see it now. I see why. I can say when I was wrong. I've been wrong about January 6th this entire time. And I've been wrong for kind of bashing Trumpers with, dang, you're still going to vote for him? Even though all this, even though we have Vivek Ramaswamy here, who speaks like Obama, but has the background and the knowledge and the insider info and is fighting for everything that Trump fights for? And you're going to let Vivek be pushed aside by a warmonger, Nikki Haley? You're going to let DeSantis, who has zero personality? I mean, he was my favorite guy all throughout COVID. I love DeSantis for everything he stood up for. And once Vivek came through, I'm like, this is the guy right here. But now I see, guys, I see why you're Trump no matter what. I see why you're saying Vivek will make a great VP, but it's Trump. No matter what, it's Trump. No matter what, we have to have Trump. I see why he's put on such a pedestal in the eyes of those who were there January 6th, in the eyes of those who were knowledgeable of all of the background info regarding January 6th. Because if I knew all of this too, I would sit there and say, well, yeah, why would it not be Trump? He's the only one that stood up for people on January 6th. He's the only one that said the entire time before, the 2,000 mules came out, he was the only one saying that they were packing the ballots. So I see it, guys. Latino Democrats sitting here saying, I see why you are all for Trump and will only vote Trump. And no matter what happens, that name is going to be on that ballot. I see why. That's our episode today. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to everybody. That was my Christmas gift to everybody right there. Me saying that I was wrong. You don't get that very often. So you're welcome. Happy New Year. I hope everyone has a blessed 2024. And I hope you start with the same mentality that I will, which is I'm going to be a badass this year. I'm going to be a badass. And nothing is going to stop me from being the greatest version of myself. Have a blessed day.
Fill my eyes with that double vision. No disguise for that double vision. Ooh.
Airquip, it's all about your comfort. Comfort with our company, comfort with our team, and most importantly, comfort in your home. As a trained comfort specialist, we adhere to the highest standards of customer service, training, and industry expertise. With a trained system from Airquip, you'll get the best products, honest prices, and service that's unparalleled. We are your home comfort specialists. Find out more at airquipheating.com.
Airquip Heating and Air. WYSL.
Car Toys offers a wide selection of truck accessories, from bug shields and Nerf bars to vent visors. They do it all. Car Toys has WeatherTech floor mats, slip-in bed liners, and tonneau covers. Car Toys installs remote car starters. Gift certificates available. Routes 5 and 20 between Avon and Lima. Call Car Toys at 226-2890. That's 226-2890. Car Toys, adult toys for the kid in you.
God bless America.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Heavy rain in the Northeast could cause travel headaches today, but there are no major storms in the forecast for the new year.
More than 115 million people were expected to travel over the holiday period, with Thursday being one of the heaviest, according to AAA. Drivers in parts of the Northeast will need to prepare for rainy travel, especially along the I-95 corridor, says National Weather Service meteorologist William Churchill.
There could be some isolated instances of flash flooding as well with that, but for the most part, it'll just be nuisance, heavy rainfall, causing some travel headaches.
And he says the winter storm that hit the Midwest is mainly over, and the New Year's forecast is looking pretty decent.
There could be a little bit of